And welcome. So in this video, we are going to create a basic counter application in React, and I'll explain you some basic structure and basic concepts in this counter React application. So you will get to know that how the states will work in the React application and how can we create a real-time basic single page web application in React. Okay, so this is the default React application which we can create through npx create React app and the name of the application which can be blah blah blah. It should be without spaces. Okay, so in this case, we have already created the React application which we created in last time my React app. So let's just run it npm start. You can do that like that. Okay, so basically, first of all, we have to go inside the application. The name of the application is my React app. So then we will do npm start, so it will run the application, and this is the default js file of our React application which we get it once we created our application through npx create React app and the my React app, the name of the app. So it is basically what it is doing, that it is like displaying an image of the React, and the logo is it is imported, and it is placed over here, and it is imported in the this component in this file, and this is basically a component, and we are returning. Okay, so this is the there are two types of components. One is like basically which is notation with the arrow functions, and one is like this type functional with type components. So and we are displaying the using the anchor tag, which is simple in the in the HTML, basically a link, or you can see a hyperlink, and and we have a simple text over here, the learn React. So it will be displayed as the link, and when once we will click it, it will go to the React documentation. So it is being started. So just ignore these warnings. Maybe it's not in your case. Okay, I am basically using some older versions, that's why it is showing me such type of errors. So the server is starting, and you can see it is by default being started at on the localhost 3000 port. Okay, and you can change it as well, and I'll explain you in the later videos maybe also. Okay, so let's just see how it will be look like by default, and then we will start creating our counter application. So our React application, the server has been started, and you can see there is no error on the console as well, and application is running on the localhost 3000 port, and you can see a logo, a text which is over here in the p tag, a paragraph tab, and the text learn React, and is basically the anchor, and a link to the, you can see the React documentation which we have give the hyperlink over here. So, okay, so let's just change it to the counter app. So this is our app, and let's just create another component, and we can we can just use it in the in place of the app, or we can use our and in other file as well. So let's just remove this and create a counter application. So this is our app, and display some buttons and some text. Okay, so first we will have a state, which will be states are just objects, and these are like, without refreshing the page, the data and the value of the state can be changed on the page. And once the state value change, the component is rendered, but the whole the page is not refreshed, or the application is not refreshed. Okay, I'll show you. So let's just do like this. Const counter it will be equal to, and the states are defined in the sq- square brackets, and counter and the set counter, and a setter function for the state. Okay, which will be used for changing or the setting the value of the variable which is counted, and it's basically the state. So we will use the useState hook. We will use the useState hook, and we can import here. Okay, so let's first import react. Oh, sorry. So let's first import react. React. Okay, in inverted commas, and react, and we can, there are no need for semicolon, there will not be any error. Okay, import useState. Okay, this is basically the hook which we will be using over here. UseState, and we can give the initial value, and let's just give it 0. We can give it null as well, but let's say we have to show the counter, so it will be 0 by default. Okay, let's now so if we have to show the value, we will use the curly braces, and we will use counter, which is basically the state. So let me just show you the results, and you can see 0. Okay, so we will update it. So if I give the value of 10 initially, and you can see it is 10, you can see the value is 10. Okay, so let's just change it back it to the 10, and we are actually displaying. Okay, so let's just, we have a button which is uh, telling you to increment, or we can do like this, increment, and one button is decrement. Okay, and we can display minus with it, and we can display plus with it, and you can see the increment and the decrement. Okay, or we can, okay, just use the increment and the decrement. Okay, so we can change the color using the css style, and color will be like, we want to increase, so let's have it green, and for the decrement let's use red. Okay, so and you can see the green and red, and we change the text color, so let's use the background color. Okay, so it will change the background of the buttons, and you can see, and we can change the color of the text as well, like this color and white. and you can see over here. Okay, color white, it changes. Okay, and after that, now we have to implement the functionality, because when I am pressing the buttons, nothing is being done. Okay, so let's implement the functionality. We have a counter over here. Let's just do style and just give it the margin above, margin of, let's give it 20 pixel. Okay, so we have to now implement the functionality for. Okay, so handle increase. So this is basically the notation of the arrow functions. We have arrow over here, so we have to define the arrow functions. So this is how we define the arrow functions, and we have to increase. So basically, once this function will be called, we will increase the counter by 1. So this is the setter function for the counter state, and we will increase it by getting the value of the counter. So we can increase it by calling the last value of the counter, and let's previous, call it previous, and this is the arrow function, and previous, and the previous plus 1. So it will basically, arrow function by default returns whether we define write the return statement or not. So this is the not the arrow function notation, so that's why we are using the return. If we use the arrow function, we don't have to write explicitly return if we are returning only the one statement. So this is basically the benefit of the arrow functions as well. So for the decrement, we can do like previous value minus 1 handle decrease. Okay, so where we'll call it. So basically, in the buttons, when we press the button, we have to call these the functions which are handling the state. So excuse me. So in the button, we can have the like this on click. So we have on click, in which we will call the on click event, and we will call the handle increase. And in this button, on the on click event, we will call handle decrease. Simple as that. So it is decrementing and it is increasing the value of the counter, right? And we can add some space like this, uh, or we can add space to just this. It is the simplest, that's why I'm using this. So, so let's do it like this. Okay, so basically, handle increase and handle decrease is working very fine, but there is one major issue in the application, is that it is going below the 0. We have to handle it. So in this handle decrease function, we can have a condition: if counter is greater than equals to 0, only then you have to update the value. Okay, so let's add some more thing over here, which is basically a div, and have a beautiful, like some color. We can have the color of the text style, and we can have color, like maybe black, just to show the heading. And we can have text over here, counter application. Oh, we have to add margin as well. And we should have ph1 over here, or we can have header as well. Okay, so incrementing and decrementing. So now if you see, if I refresh the application, the states will be refreshed. So it is not handling right now, it is decrementing and going below the zero. So I have added if. Okay, so basically, if it is greater than 0, if it is greater than or equal to 0, it will set the counter to previous minus 1. So if counter value is 0, it will still be going below the 0, and it will update the value to minus 1. So we want that it doesn't go below the 0. So we will just do this. So let me just refresh it. So it is incrementing and it is decrementing, and while decrementing it is not updating the value of the counter, because we have a condition that if the counter value is greater than 0, like maybe 1, so it will decrease it to 0, and once it will be 0, this condition will be false and the counter value will not be updated. So states are, you can see states are like objects which are and the on updating the value of these states, the component is mounted and the rendered again, re-rendered, and you can see the whole like application is not being rendered, it is rendered, but on updating the state you can see how fast is that. So the React application are the single page applications, and these are fast. So that's all for today, and we will see other examples in the other tutorials on the React, and we will learn and explore the React application and the React library which is built by the Facebook on the top of the JavaScript further in the next lectures. Thank